Hello, I'm iDevil.
I'm Avirock, and we're Sophisticated Mayhem.
It's Game of the Month time. For May, we've picked Toy Soldiers Complete by Signal Studios.
Toy Soldiers is a tower defense game with a tabletop theme. Players fight off waves of enemies by placing towers at fixed locations and commandeering toy vehicles. Toy Soldiers Complete is actually two games, the original game and the sequel. The original has a World War I theme, and the second has an overarching 80s action hero and Cold War theme. Both games have a ton of content, such as a campaign, versus, and survival modes. Each of the games also includes all of the DLC that was released in the past. These games have also been released on the Xbox 360 a couple of years ago, but they're being retuned and updated for PC while in early access. The original game is even being expanded to include mechanics that were introduced by the sequel. The original game's content is not yet available in early access, so for the purposes of this mini tutorial, we'll be focusing on the Cold War half of the game.
Toy Soldiers Cold War is anything but. The player in the base campaign acts as the US fighting against communist forces in an alternate Cold War scenario with sprinkles of 80s military movies. The game is split into levels, and each level is a warscape diorama with different obstacles and enemies. These enemies vary from basic ground infantry to fighter jets and to occasional bosses. A list of waves is visible on the top of the screen, giving you an idea of what to expect and an opportunity to figure out what turrets to place or change. The object is to exhaust the enemy's forces while defending your toy box or base from enemies marching into it.
The game revolves around placing turrets and then upgrading, repairing, and commandeering them to defend your toy box. Buying, upgrading, and repairing costs money, and that's earned by fighting off waves of enemies. Turrets technically have unlimited ammo, but they have clips or loads that they must reload from time to time. This means that while a turret has no resources to manage, it can't fire non-stop. Turrets also have health and can be repaired. Repairing takes some time, but the turret is ignored by enemy forces until it's completed.
There's a variety of turrets, and each has a specific role in combat. Machine guns, anti-tank, artillery, anti-air, mortar, and makeshift turrets. While machine guns are great against infantry, they're not so great against tanks. Anti-tank weapons are excellent against vehicles, but are best against only single targets. Turrets can be upgraded from level 1 to level 3 normally, though in campaign mode, you will have to unlock these upgrades by completing levels. All of these turrets have functions that change as they get upgraded. For example, the anti-air turret for the US starts as a flat cannon, but it evolves into a multi-missile launcher at level 3.
When manned by the AI, all these turrets have different behaviors. For example, a level 1 anti-tank turret is programmed to attack tanks and other ground forces. However, a player can commandeer this turret and use it in an unorthodox way, such as using a shell cam to fire an anti-tank weapon into an airborne unit. It is not uncommon to change the tide of battle just by manning a turret.
All turrets can be controlled by the player. Just highlight the turret and select the crosshair icon that says Use Unit. This allows the player to aim the turret where they please and use mechanics like the shell cam, which allows you to aim rockets and artillery precisely at enemies by slowing down and speeding up the shells mid-flight. When using a turret, a bar appears in the lower left corner. This is the combo meter, and it fills as the player consecutively kills enemies. When it fills to a point, the player no longer needs to reload. When it fills entirely, the player gets a barrage.
Barrages are bonuses that rain down destruction upon enemies. This can be some sort of support fire or a unique unit to control. Barrages are normally earned by filling up the combo meter, but they can also be earned by killing a unit with a red star above it personally, either using a turret or a vehicle. The player only begins with a few barrages, and the rest are unlocked as they play the game.
Barrages aren't needed to get up close and personal with enemies, though. Many maps have a vehicle on the map for the player to use. They range from attack helicopters to IFVs. Vehicles fall under the same constraints of turrets when it comes to health and ammo, but they are free to roam the map, even outside the first line of turrets the player has. The only additional constraint they have is battery power. When the power runs out, the player is kicked out as the vehicle explodes. This can be delayed by picking up the batteries around the map, or, if you only want to use the vehicle for a brief period, by returning the vehicle to its charging station. At any rate, the vehicle will be usable again after it recharges. Keep in mind that the AI will never take control of vehicles, so if you want the extra firepower, you'll have to make sure to use it.
And that's the basics. That's not absolutely everything. I mean, we didn't even touch versus or survival mode, but it's plenty enough to get started.
We hope you enjoy our pick for Game of the Month.
Bye for now.